Hello, everybody, and welcome to Nobody's Listening, the podcast that nobody is listening to today. I am joined again by Nate.
Hello, everybody.
And Wes.
Hey, what's up?
Being that it's still October. Oh, by the way, sorry about last week's episode. I'm a lazy bastard and just haven't uploaded it yet.
Well, that ain't the truth. I don't know what is.
All right. So what actually happened was, remember? You don't remember because you haven't heard it yet. So there's a part in it where I told myself to add spooky noises / music. Well, I edit late at night, and it was like 3 a.m. My house, I didn't have any lights on. I was just sitting here editing, and I was like, oh shit, I need to go get spooky music. So I started looking up spooky music, and it was too dark, and I didn't want to deal with it at that time of night, so I didn't, and then I worked the rest of the week. So there's where that got me.
I don't blame you on that one, though, dude, because, like, even just reading the stuff that I have up here right now, like, I'm contemplating on pulling... I usually have my blinds open because of my cat, because she likes to look out the window, so I have the blinds open. So I'm contemplating on shutting them tonight.
You want to keep Tony the Tiger out.
Shut up.
Oh, that reminds me. I came up behind him with a Frosted Flakes box. It's the Halloween box. So Tony the Tiger has like this weird lighting on his face, and it's kind of creepy.
Freaked me out a bit. It really did. It was just like, I turned around and sprayed in my face. I was like, Jesus.
You're dead.
Exactly. That's what it was.
All right. So, again, like I was saying before I interrupted myself, we are continuing with our topic of spooky scary
shit.
Stories. And Nate has a couple, and I have a few, and Wes didn't prepare, like always. So, let's begin. Nate, go ahead.
Okay, I've got a few things, since yesterday was mainly spooky stories. Now I got spooky things. We'll start off with Valentino's ring. Rudolph Valentino, he was a Hollywood... arguably one of the greatest silent movie stars during the silent film era, essentially. Anyway, Valentino died of a perforated ulcer around the age of 31. Some blame his early demise to a ring that he purchased from a jeweler in 1920. So he died 6 years later. The ring had a gem called the Tiger's Eye embedded into it. The legend goes that Valentino showed the ring to a close friend immediately after he bought it, and his friend saw a vision of a pale and deathly Valentino. Regardless of what his friend did or did not see, Valentino's next few major pictures flopped at the box office, and he died within, like I said, 6 years. But Valentino wasn't the ring's only victim. His lover, Paula Negri, 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 I don't know, became gravely ill after wearing the ring, so much so that her career had to be put on the back burner for years and never fully recovered. Ross Colombo, the actor hired to play Valentino in his biopic of his life, wore the ring and was killed in a shooting accident some days later. And the gangster Joe Casino bought the ring and refused to wear it until the curse had faded. After years, he finally put the ring on and was dead within a week due to a motorcycle accident. The list goes on, but since 1960s, the ring's whereabouts have yet to be found. So it's still out there somewhere.
Oh.
Which is kind of spooky.
There is.
Because, the ring looks like... It looks like any ring that you would, find at, like a secondhand jeweler or something like that. Like, it doesn't look like it's anything superbly fancy. I mean, the gem in it's fantastic, but hell, just maybe one of your grandparents have it, just chilling in the jewelry box somewhere.
Yep. Not trying on any creepy rings anytime soon.
Kind of spooky. Got the possessed bunk beds, which makes me never want to have bunk beds now.
Oh God.
Did you guys have bunk beds growing up?
Yeah, actually, I was on the top though.
You're on the top
I did.
bunk? I did not, because
I bounced between both.
I did not. Um, the case of the haunted bunk beds was so famous that the tale found its way onto the hit TV show Unsolved Mysteries. In February 1987 in Horicon, Wisconsin, Alan and Debbie Tallman. First off, the name Tallman is just already spooky. Anyway, brought the bunk bed home from a secondhand shop, and like you do, put it down in the basement. In May later that year, the couple moved the beds upstairs, and 9 months of hell ensued, and not just from a bad back from shoddy bed building. From the first night, the bunks were in the new room can't speak. From the first night, the bunks were in the new room, things quickly escalated from wacky to just plain creepy. First of all, the children of the house became ill. Then a radio would jump from station to station without anyone touching it. And to cap things off, the first two children to sleep in the bed said they saw a witch. The Talismans got a pastor and it cooled off for a while, but when Alan Tallman returned home a few weeks after Christmas in 1988, he heard a voice telling him to come here. He followed it to the garage where he witnessed a blazing fire. Rushing to grab an extinguisher, Alan returned to the scene only to see the fire had vanished. A few more creepy circumstances later, and the Tallmans have had enough. They burned the bunk beds, and would you believe it, just like that, the paranormal activity ended. No. No, 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 no. No.
You didn't just like fuck bunk beds from now
yeah,
on.
No, I don't want bunk beds anymore. I don't want bunk beds anymore.
I got one here. Called the Conjure Chest.
I think you and I are on the same website right now. Listverse.com 2013/06/1110 incredibly spooky things. Is that where you're on?
He's dead.
Wes died. Wes is dead. The Conjure just got to him.
It was so spooky he died.
He's so spooky. Wes, you there, buddy?
Did we lose him?
Yeah, we lost him.
Well, we try to figure that out.
Yeah. Do you have anything? Because I've got one more lined up if you don't got one.
I do, but I'll wait till Wes comes.
Okay, I'll tell you mine then. I don't care. All right, you know the show or the movie Annabelle? Well, I didn't think that was a real thing. Like the movie was based off a real story or whatever.
Okay, thing. I did. I hate porcelain dolls. I will.
Oh
not,
no, I already have a fear of porcelain dolls. Like they're creepy.
I will not let my wife have any in the house because they freak me the hell out.
But honey, look how cute it is. It's not freaking cute. It's going to murder us in our sleep. But honey, no. Hey, do we get him back? Was that Wes coming back?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Did you die? Did you die, Wes?
I don't know. Probably because my phone is like on the verge of dying and I have it charging, so it's being really, really slow. Might be why I dropped out.
But so you had the Conjuring chest.
Yeah, it's called the Conjure Chest. I gotta wait for it to load up again. Give me shoot the shit for a few seconds.
All right. Well, I'm sorry. Nate has a story that he was telling it about. Go ahead. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So like I was telling Chris, the Annabelle movie, that's a real thing apparently.
Yeah.
And there's the Annabelle, the possessed doll. And I kind of don't want to read this because it's freaky. But it goes like this. Famous investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren took on the case of Annabelle the Haunted Doll in the early 1970s. The antique doll had been bought as a present by her mother for her daughter, Donna, in 1970. Donna was a student at the time, training to be a nurse. She lived in a small apartment with her friend, Angie. The doll took pride of place on her bed, and then, you guessed it, weird stuff started happening. The doll seemingly had the ability to move about on its own. Sometimes the girls would come home to find the doll in a different room from where they had left her. You can find her sat cross-legged on the couch with its arms folded. Sometime after this, the girls would come home to find handwritten notes written in a crude child's writing. The message read, "Help us." Who was writing the notes, and where was the old-looking parchment the messages were written coming from? But the girls couldn't analyze for far too long because a few days more strange occurrences happened, namely blood starting to appear on the doll from nowhere. The girls called for a seance where they were acquainted, with a spirit girl called Annabelle Higgins, a 7-year-old girl who had been found murdered on the plot of land the apartment the girls lived in was built on. Annabelle moved on to the doll so she could have some female company, and once they heard Annabelle's story, the girls agreed that the spirit could stay in the doll and in the apartment. A bad decision. From one of their close friends, at least Lou had told the girls over and over again that ditching the doll and the dislike was clearly a two-way street. One evening when Lou was in Eddie's bedroom, he was attacked by an unseen force. The attack left him with 7 claw marks on his chest. Enter paranormal investigators Ann and Lorraine Warren. After looking into the case, Ann and Lauren concluded that the doll was not possessed by a spirit girl, but a benevolent spirit who wanted to eventually possess a human host. According to the Warrens, the demonic spirit had manipulated and preyed on the girl's emotional weakness, currying favor with them and lying in wait, until eventually it would have tried to possess them. The Warrens removed Annabelle from the apartment. To this day remains in the Warren Occult Museum in Modus, Connecticut. Annabelle still moves around, and on the odd occasion, it is said even growls at visitors. Frick that!
Let's take a trip.
Yeah, no.
Dear God.
No, you want to see all 200 pounds of me scream like a girl at a Justin Bieber concert? Go right ahead. Yeah, let's do it.
Well, how do you feel about
No.
them clowns?
No. I've said it before. I'll say it again. That is 10 pounds of nope in a 5-pound bag.
It doesn't happen very often where I can get goosebumps just from here.
Dude, okay, I don't know if I told you this, but like spooky things always scared me. And when it comes to like little girls, like the Ring Girl, truly terrifies me. And when it's like when you hear like movies, you hear like little kids, not just little girls, like little kids singing like their little tunes or whatever in a scary movie, like Ring Around the Rosie.
And it has to be
Oh,
echoey
dude,
and slow.
Yeah, it's like Ring Around the Rosie. Back. Nope. No.
Fuck that
Oh
shit.
man, I'm gonna have so much fun with my daughter.
If you teach your daughter to come up to me and start singing real creepy like I am going to kick you in the head.
And she just like makes wide-eyed eye contact.
God.
Hello.
Yes. Hello, father's friend. Begone, tiny Satan.
Johnny Satan.
Gone, demon spawn.
Wes, go ahead with your story.
All right, it is called the Conjure Chest. Apparently, the image I'm looking at is some creepy old dusty-looking box with a little tiny teddy bear sitting next to it. Because that's not creepy.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it states that 150 years ago, Jacob Cooley ordered his African-American slave, Hosie, to build a chest for his first child. Hosie set to work crafting a wooden chest of some remark. For some unknown reason, his master was displeased with his efforts and beat his slave to a pulp, killing him. Cooley's other slaves vowed to avenge the death of their friend and sprinkled the dried blood of an owl in the chest and had a conjure man curse the chest. As if by magic, Cooley's firstborn died in infancy, and over the forthcoming years, a total of 17 deaths were attributed to the chest. Eventually, the curse was lifted by a conjure woman, in air quotes. The chest can be found in the Kentucky History Museum in Frankfurt.
So
Yeah.
this thing, okay, I can't even fathom that because it's just like I wouldn't feel bad for
It
the
was
dude.
cursed
At the
with
same
dried
time,
owl
I don't.
blood.
Right? You feel bad because his kid died, but he kind of like he didn't deserve it.
He
but,
deserved.
But he
brought
kind
it
of
on
deserved
himself.
it.
you know what I'm saying.
He didn't deserve it, but he deserved it. He brought it on himself.
He didn't deserve for his child to die, but
He
he did deserve
himself
something
deserved
terrible to
that.
happen to him.
Yeah. Freaky, dude.
So what I
Ooh, this
have,
one sounds pretty good.
what I have is a creepypasta. Probably most people listening, maybe even you guys, have heard it before. But I'm lazy and didn't feel like trying to find stuff that's get the word I'm looking for right now. Obscure. There we go.
Spooky.
No, it's spooky, but it's not obscure. It's pretty well known. It's called Pokemon Black,
Oh boy.
and
I had not heard this.
all right.
Time to raise the hair on my chest.
I'm what you'd call a collector of bootleg Pokemon games. Pokemon Diamond and Jade, Chaos Black, etc. It's amazing the frequency with which you can find them at pawn shops, Goodwill, flea markets, and such. They're generally fun, even if they're unplayable, which they often are. The mistranslations and poor quality make them unintentionally. I've been able, I've been able to find most of the ones that I've played online. There's one that I haven't seen any mention of. Bought at a flea market about 5 years ago. Here's a picture of the cartridge in case anyone recognizes it. Fortunately, when I moved 2 years ago, I lost the game, so I can't provide you with any screen caps. Sorry, it's just a black cartridge with a black and white label that just says Pokemon. The game started with the familiar Nidorino and Gengar intro of Red and Blue version. However, the press start screen had been altered. Red was there, but the Pokemon did not cycle through. It also said Black version Pokemon logo. Upon selecting New Game, the game started when the professor started the Professor Oak speech, and it quickly became evident that this game was essentially Pokemon Red version. After selecting your starter, it looked like your Pokemon you had, in addition to Bulbasaur. Okay. After selecting your starter, if you looked at your Pokemon, you had, in addition to Bulbasaur, Squirtle, another Pokemon, Ghost.
Okay.
Pokemon was level 1. Had the sprite of the ghosts that are in Lavender Town. Before obtaining the had one attack, Curse. I know that there's a real move named Curse, but the attack did not exist in Gen 1. It appears it was hacked in. Defending Pokemon were unable to attack Ghosts, say that they were too scared to move. Curse was used in battle, the screen cut to black, deprived the defending Pokemon but it was reported. Played at a much lower pitch than the battle screen would then reappear. The defending Pokemon would be gone. If used in battle against the trainer, when the Pokeballs representing the Pokemon would appear in the corner, they would have one fewer Pokeball. The implication was that the Pokemon died. Even stranger is that after defeating a trainer and seeing Red receive $200 for winning, the battle commands would appear again. If you selected Run, the battle would end as it normally would. You could also select Curse. If you did, upon returning to the overworld, the trainer's sprite would be gone. After leaving and re-entering the area, the spot where the trainer would be replaced with a tombstone, like the ones at Lavender Tower.
What the fuck?
Not it yet.
What? Okay.
I'm reading ahead so that I don't stumble over words.
Okay.
The move Curse was not usable in all instances. It would fail against Ghost Pokemon. It would also fail if it was used against trainers that you would have to face again, such as your rival or Giovanni. It was usable in your final battle again. I figured this was the gimmick of the game, allowing you to use the previously uncapturable ghosts, and because Curse made the game so easy, I essentially used it throughout the whole adventure. The game? The game changed quite a bit after defeating the war. After viewing the Hall of Fame, which consisted of Ghost and a couple of Pokemon I used for HMs, screen cut to black. A box appeared with the words, "Many years later." Then cut to Lavender Town. An old man was standing, looking at Tombstone. You then realize the man was your character. The man moved at only half your normal walking speed. You no longer had any Pokemon with you, not even Ghost, who up to this point had been impossible to remove from your party, through depositing it into the PC or what have you. The overworld was entirely empty. There was no people at all. there were still the tombstones of the trainers that you used curse on. You could go pretty much anywhere in the overworld at this, so your movement was limited by the fact that you had no Pokemon to use gems. And regardless of where you went, the music of Lavender Town continued on an infinite loop. After wandering for a while, I found that if you go through Diglett's cave, one of the cuttable bushes that normally blocks the path on the other side is no longer there, allowing you to advance and return to Pallet Town. Upon entering your house and going into the exact tile where you start the game, the screen would cut to black. Then a sprite of Caterpie appeared. It was replaced by a Weedle, then a Pidgey. I soon realized as the Pokemon progressed from Rattata to Blastoise that these were all the Pokemon that I had used Cursed on. After the end of my rival's team, a youngster appeared, and a bug catcher. These were the trainers I had cursed. Throughout the sequence, Lavender Town music was playing, but it was slowly decreasing in pitch. By the time your rival appeared on screen, it was another cut to black. Later, the battle screen appeared. Your trainer was now that of an old man. The same one that teaches you to catch Pokemon in Verde. Ghost appeared on the other side, along with Ghost wants to fight. You couldn't use items, and you had no Pokemon. If you tried to run, you couldn't escape. The only option, fight. Using fight would immediately cause you to struggle, which didn't affect Ghost, but did chip a bit off your own HP. When it was Ghost's turn to attack, it would simply say ... Eventually, when your HP reached a critical point, Ghost would finally use Curse. The screen cut to black final time. Regardless of the buttons you pressed, you were permanently stuck in this black screen. At one point, the only thing you could do was turn the Game Boy off. When you played again, New Game was the only option. The game had erased the file. I played through this hack game many times, and every time the game ended with this sequence. Several times I didn't use Ghost at all, though he was impossible to party. In these cases, it did not show any Pokemon or trainers, it just simply battle with Ghost. I'm not sure what the motives were behind the creator of this hack. It wasn't widely distributed, so presumably not for monetary gain. Very well done. It was just very well done for a bootleg. It seems he was trying to convey a message, though it seems that I am the sole receiver of this. I'm not entirely sure what it was. The inevitability of death? Pointlessness of it? Perhaps he was simply trying to morbidly inject death into our game. Regardless, children's game has made me think. That's it.
Isn't there a Pokemon Black now?
There is now, yeah, but I mean, obviously, this is just a story.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's kind of spooky. Like, anytime there's weird Pokemon things or whatever, it's definitely weird. Because it's... Do we lose Wes again?
I don't know. Maybe. He's not talking.
Wes. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. Have you ever heard of Lost Silver?
Yeah, that was the next one.
Can we not do creepy Pokemon?
Oh, I love Lost Silver.
What, you don't want to do more Pokemon creepypastas?
Can you just do this one? Don't be a wimp.
I'm currently playing
is a good
Pokemon
one.
Diamond. I'm gonna come up against a Ghastly and freak the hell out.
Here, I'll read it so it's not as creepy.
Go for it.
Okay, well, I have a soft voice. It won't scare you as much. Okay, pretty much it's about this college student living alone in an apartment, blah, blah, blah. He was super hyped
Look, hey,
about when Heart Gold and Soul Silver were released.
Shut the fuck up. If you're gonna tell this, you gotta fucking tell it right. You can't just basically blah 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 through it.
Okay,
This is
well, no,
another
it was
one.
just like the first paragraph. Okay,
I literally
says, you
have
see,
it
I am a
right
simple college student living alone in an apartment. So do I.
Okay.
I'm reading it right. I was very enthusiastic about the release of Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver here in the States. I've purposely locked myself out of all media and the internet aside for school purposes. That means no 4chan, no V, no Bulbapedia, etc. As I was busy with the school year and being poor at the time, I wasn't able to buy Soul Silver on its launch date. After my school year ended, I ordered Soul Silver on Amazon. However, it would take a week for it to arrive. I decided that during that time I would replay my Crystal version on my Game Boy Color. However, I realized that long ago my mom had thrown it away because I told her that the save went dead, and I was very upset about it then. She also threw away my Silver version, so all I have is my Game Boy Color. As such, I set out to GameStop and bought a used Silver version, as it's the only Pokemon game left that they have for the GBC. $10. Fairly cheap. I went home, started it up for a nostalgia trip. However, that's where things started to get bizarre. Most likely the reason why you read this. The Game Freak logo started up as normal, but it just froze there. I thought the cartridge was just errored or something, so I turned it off and on. The same thing happened. I tried pressing A and start over and over and all of the buttons. Eventually the logo vanished and there was a black screen for about 5 seconds. Suddenly, rather than going to the usual menu screen, I was already in the game in a previous saved file, which was odd as I was expecting all of these cards to have been wiped by the poor battery. Either way, I wasn't complaining, as I would have chosen the continue option to see where that previous guy did anyways. First off, I checked his trainer information. His name was just ... He didn't have much originality. I checked his profile, and apparently he had 999 hours, 99 minutes put into the game with all 16 badges, 99999.9 Poké Dollars, and 251 Pokemon on the Pokedex. Seeing as he apparently had Mew and Celebi logged also, I am guessing he either used a Game Genie or was a really hardcore Pokemon player back then. I checked his Pokemon to see what a badass team he has. To my surprise, I saw 5 unknowns and a 6th Pokemon named Hurry. I'm thinking that this must be some cruel joke by the person who last played this game, but I decided to check the profiles of those Pokemon anyway. As expected, they were different letters of unknown, all level 5. I was a bit shaky with the unknown alphabet at the time, but I identified the word spelled out to be leave. As for the 6th Pokemon, it turned out to be a Cyndaquil. Mind you, this was before there were individualized Pokemon icons. The Cyndaquil looked normal, but it was level 5 with only 1 HP left, with only 2 attacks, Leer and Flash. I don't know why they named him Hurry, but at the time I just disregarded it. Oh, shit. Despite my volume, the most eerie thing was that despite my volume being at max, none of the Pokemon he said had their usual cries, just pure silence. Having enough of the team, I closed it. I was parked at what appears to be a room inside Bellsprout Tower. However, for some reason, there were no NPCs around. Even more eerie was that the pillar in the middle didn't move at all, as if it was just leaning on its side. There was no music at all, and there was no exit or ladder. At least I thought there wasn't. I walked around for a few minutes, but couldn't seem to find a way out. This was certainly not a room I've seen in the Bellsprout Tower before. I tried checking my items for an escape rope, but the bag was completely empty. There wasn't any wild Pokemon either. Finally, I managed to find a ladder, which turned out to be behind the pillar. The screen turned black, and the music finally started playing. I had a sudden chill as I recognized that melody I heard to be the theme you hear when you listen to the radio at the Alph Ruins where the Unknown are at. I immediately realized that it wasn't a loading transition, but rather I was in a dark room and would need flash. Before I took care of that, though, I immediately checked my Pokegear to change the radio to something more pleasant. But it turns out that there was no radio card or even a phone nor time cards. There was only a map card in which Gold ... from earlier, and I will call him Gold from now on, was just walking in midst of black. I recall that Cyndaquil had Flash, so I turned off my Pokegear and made Cyndaquil use Flash. I didn't see any message, Hurry has used Flash, or anything like that. The room just became lit, just like that, and I soon regretted it. The room was a chilling blood red with a linear gray path heading south. The ladder I used to go up and down was not there at all. I had no choice but to head south. The screen got darker every 20 steps I made, until I finally made it to the end, which appears to be a sign. I read the sign which said, "Turn back now." Suddenly, I was asked to answer yes or no, but there was no question asked. I chose yes as I do not know what it was asking, and the screen went black again, making a ladder climb sound. The unknown radio music stopped, and in a few seconds was replaced by the not as creepy polka flute radio music. I was in another dark room, but I held my breath and used flash again. Suddenly, it said that Hurry has fainted, which was odd since I recall that there was no status conditions like poison on him. And I clearly wasn't in a battle. I checked my Pokemon quickly, and suddenly he's no longer in my party. In fact, after a bit of investigating, none of my Pokemon are there, but instead all replaced with a level 10 unknown. I did the same thing as before and spelled out the unknown. My team then of unknowns spelled he died. Either way, after that creepy change, the room was lit to reveal myself in a very small room that appears to be only 4 squares big. The walls of that room were gray bricks, as if I was inside something that was hollowed out. Outside that room appears to be a bunch of graves similar to the ones in Pokemon Red and Blue. I've walked around that small room and pressed A, but nothing happened. I've already concluded that this was clearly a hacked game, and some sadistic fuck sold it to GameStop. However, my curiosity kept me going. I checked the trainer profile of ... again, only to find out that the sprite of gold was missing his arms, and he seems to appear less smug, but rather seems more sad and empty in a way that I do not know how to describe. For some reason, it also now said that he has 24 badges, which was clearly impossible. After a few minutes of aimlessly wandering, my character suddenly spun and did the escape rope spinning animation. Instead of flying up through, though, my character spun downwards slowly, as if sinking. After that, the screen, the music stopped, and finally landing, the overworld sprite of gold is colored differently now. Instead of the usual red color he dons, he appears completely white now, including his skin. It's as if he came straight from the colorless Game Boy games placed into a colored background of the Game Boy Color. I checked his profile now. While now is as white as his overworld sprite, he lost his legs and has what appears to be bloody tears from his eyes. It also says he now has 32 badges, which now starts to disturb me, as this change of number seems to represent something important. I also checked my Pokemon, which this time contained 5 unknowns and a level 100 Celebi without a nickname. The unknown are this time leveled 15 and spelled out dying. I checked the Celebi's profile, and it was a shiny Celebi, except there's only half of the sprite, 1 leg, 1 arm, 1 eye. It only has 1 attack, Perish Song. The area I was in itself was the Sprout Tower with the immobile pillar as before, except everything is apparently red now. I walked north for what felt like forever. Eventually, I finally encountered some generic men and women NPCs. They were all lined up to the side, just facing the long slantish pillar in the middle. They were also white, and nothing happens when I try to speak to them. I kept on going north until eventually the pillar finally appears chopped off, with a transparent red in that spot. I went up to red, and without even pressing A, I was suddenly engaged and finally in a battle. The music starts again, which it sounds like the unknown radio music again, but played backwards. Gold's battle back sprite matches his front one with the bloody eyes, white skin, and lack of arms, while Red's sprite was the same as before in GSC, except transparent. The text simply said, "Wants to battle," as if he has no name, and both of us only have 1 Pokemon each, which is weird, as I swore I had 6 with the unknowns. My shiny Celebi came out conveniently with half a sprite for the back sprite also. The shiny noise and animation was different, as the sounds it made sounded like multiple screech attacks used consecutively. Red sent out a seemingly normal male Pikachu, except he is level 255, and his sprite seems sad and has tears in his eyes. Rather than the usual fight/Pokemon/item/run menu, I was only given the option to use the attacks. Since Celebi only has 1, I chose it. Naturally, since Pikachu was level 255, he went first. Pikachu used Curse, lowering his speed and increasing his other stats. I'm not even sure if Pikachu could use Curse. Celebi used Perish Song. In 3 turns, both Pokemon get KO'd, not like I have a choice. At this point, it didn't even go back to the fight menu, as the battle just continued without me. Also note that there were no animations at all for some reason. Pikachu used Flail, which didn't do much damage despite his level, and Boost as all his health was maxed. Celebi used Perish Song. Nothing happens as it was already used. Pikachu used Frustration, which did a shit ton of damage, knocking Celebi down to less than 10 HP. Celebi used Pain Split, which surprised me as Celebi didn't even have that attack in the first place. Now Celebi and Pikachu have about 150 HP. Pikachu used Mean Look, not like that did anything. As I expected, due to the effects of Perish Song, my Celebi fainted, except in the text it said Celebi has died, and instead of the ordinary drop off the screen animation, the Celebi back sprite just vanished. For some reason, the Pikachu was still up even with Perish Song, and it didn't count as my loss. Pikachu used one more different attack beyond the 5 attack limit. Pikachu used Destiny Bond. Afterwards, it said Pikachu has died, with a slow fade out animation. Apparently, I was the winner as the transparent red sprite showed up and said blank. At that point, I just freaked out as the transparent red sprite was suddenly beheaded, leaving nothing but his transparent body. The battle then ended at the point and faded out along with the music. I'm back in the overworld with another change to the gold sprite. He's now as transparent as Red's overworld sprite. I quickly checked Gold's profile, where this time the only thing remains of him is his head with a transparent skin. The head was zoomed in a bit, showing a black void in his eyes. It now stated that he now has 40 badges. I then backed out and checked my Pokemon. They were all level 20 shiny unknown, which then spelled out no more. I was at what I now know is next to the end. There was apparently no music playing, but for some reason I still felt like something was there that could be heard. I was back in my room in New Barktown. Maybe finally I get to play this game properly, but who am I kidding? I knew that sadistic fuck must have done something. I walked around my room to interact with things, as I'm a bit afraid to go down the stairs to see what was awaiting down there. Note I said walked, as while the background was moving, Gold was not moving. His transparent limbs at all while doing so, just floating there like a ghost you see in Diamond and Pearl. As expected, the radio, computer, and TV did not work, so I had no choice but to go down the stairs. I ended up in the same lower level room of my house. Everything appears normal, except Mom isn't home. After failing to interact with anything in this room, I decided to go outside. To my surprise, that door leading outside at the south didn't work, and instead I just walked straight through it to a void. I continued moving south to see what the fuck was going on. My house vanishes as I head south into the void. It was creepy, as when I entered the void, the outline on Gold's transparent sprite turned white to contrast the pitch black. Eventually, I reached a white area, and Gold's sprite turned black and transparent again. I continued south without thinking of stopping at all. After a long trek south, I finally encountered something. It was Gold's regular sprite. I talked to it, and he said, "Goodbye forever, blank," notable with a space in between the forever and blank, and vanished. As that happened, it said used nightmare, which at that point I would not deny that being possibly Gold did another escape rope animation spinning slowly downwards like before. I'm now back into that small hollowed out room surrounded by graves earlier. Or at least I say I was back there, as there's no sprite anymore. I tried to walk around, but nothing moved. Not even wall bumping noises. I checked my trainer profile with absolutely no Gold sprite left. It said I have 0 badges, and all the pictures of the Johto gym leaders at the bottom were replaced by skulls. I checked my Pokemon, which were all level 25 unknown. As expected, it spelled out a phrase that I dared to read. I'm dead. As soon as I went back to the overworld, the room I supposedly was in was then covered with the same blocks as the walls. I then figured out what exactly that room was when the final text was said, R.I.P. That room was a big grave surrounded by other graves. Gold has already been dead. He died presumably a few years after he defeated Red. He was a young trainer who, despite his efforts in collecting so many badges and attempts at becoming a Pokemon Master, was still unable to avoid the inevitability of death, and his efforts were eventually forgotten by the next generation. I was unable to escape from that text no matter what I pressed. I tried resetting the game and the same thing happened, at which I then finally decided to give up on that horrible nightmare. After that experience, I will never look at the gimmick unknown the same way again. They say that only the first generation have folk tales and legends, but the second generations have shown me how unpleasant the truth can be. I eventually enjoyed Soul Silver immensely, but I still can't unthink what that rigged game has told me.
Okay, we're done here. This is
You know what's even more terrifying?
what?
I've actually played that.
Yeah,
No.
there's a
Dude.
ROM of it.
Yeah, I played it in college. It was fucking terrifying.
Why do things like this exist? Why do things... Dude, okay, as you were reading that, I had to... If you guys heard any like noises on my end, it was because I
Yeah.
was fixing my window. Because I swear to God, I thought I heard a tap at my window. So I put over my curtains, and it's still fucking showing. I gotta... it's spooky.
Come on, Nate. You're a grown man.
I don't care if I'm a grown man or not. Shit's scary.
Shit's
Have you ever heard the Lavender Town theme slowed down and played in reverse?
No, you play it, I'm stabbing you next time I see you.
You want to talk about terrifying?
Like I said, you play it, I'm stabbing you next time. I'm not even... You'd be like, hey, Nate, hey, Wes, shank.
Right across the throat.
Chris is going to be there drinking
KO.
coffee like he said it. He fucking said it. Now, due to my not willingness to read this, but Chris wants me to.
It's your turn to read something. You're saying
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I have other things I can read, not this weird ass Pokemon shit. God, it's long as balls. Holy hell.
Okay, well,
How
then
are
we'll
we at-
save this one for next time.
Holy shit. Okay, well,
How are we on
We're about
time?
we're about halfway.
Okay.
I'll save this one for next time. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I got fucking heebie-jeebies, yo.
Pokemon.
No, see, I'm currently playing Diamond right now, and you're gonna make me not want to. All right. What is this
Have you
called?
seen the Ghosts in Diamond?
Shut up, Wes.
There were some errors. in
No,
that
seriously.
one.
Like, have you gotten to the old chateau? Have you
No,
gotten
I'm
to the old
currently
chateau?
I'm currently lost in it because I haven't played in a while, so I need to go.
Well,
back.
when you go into the old chateau, watch the pictures because their eyes will follow you.
Yeah,
And there is an actual ghost sprite that walks around the chateau. I've seen it before. It's creepy as fuck, but it's awesome.
Fuck me, dude. Like, this is
Oh, Strangled
stupid.
Red.
Like, I'm constantly fixing my shit, so I can't.
There were a few errors in that though. One, he said the 5-move limit. True.
Yeah,
Two,
I
a lot of the
didn't think to
attacks.
correct that.
A lot of the attacks in that are,
Newer,
but I guess.
either like newer gen. True.
Keep talking. I'm fixing stuff, making sure that no creepy Pokemon trainers can look inside my room.
Third thing.
We're gonna get you.
Yeah, I'm gonna like seriously, dude. I'm freaked out right now.
Don't
All right.
sleep.
Third
All right,
one.
this one's a little deviant from the Pokemon one. All right. Excuse me.
The third thing though, real quick, was he said it was $10.
What do you say? Buy it from GameStop?
I don't
Yeah.
know. No. I don't know when he bought that or what GameStop, but $10.
Yeah. No, well, no, I could see it being it. What was it again? It was Soul Silver or Silver.
Silver.
It was the original silver, but it was hacked. Yeah.
Look it up anywhere.
Okay, I worked at a GameStop. We wouldn't take if
Me
we
too.
knew it was hacked. We wouldn't have taken it. Two, if they would have sold it, it would have been like it's original silver. So that probably would have been at least 20,
$30.
at least.
Exactly.
Anyway, this one's a little deviant. This is from a little deviant from the Pokemon. This is called the Scratch Man.
Oh God.
Give me just a moment.
Whose butthole just exploded, by the way?
My thing's going off. Hang on. I gotta shoot me real quick.
Chris's
What
things.
the fuck?
Did this dryer go off? Oh, did Alexis wake up? Did Alexis wake up? Oh, it's his
Okay.
brother. Hi, Chris's brother. We're doing a
Hi,
podcast here,
Frank.
Chris. Show some professionalism.
Yeah, cuz.
No, they can't, but you're on the phone.
Dick butt.
Show some fucking professionalism. I mean, I know anything
This is
goes,
just me.
but come on, man.
This is as rude as going through a checkout line on a cell phone.
Wait, take a look. That was a mood killer. My spooky boner's gone. What? So you're just gonna hear us talking to you?
Okay, I'm back
Oh,
now.
good.
Show some.
Good.
My spooky boner's gone, like I said. All right, like I said, this is called the. Can I tell my story now? Or is your
Oh,
brother in the call again?
Oh, he's good. I told him I'd get back to him in a couple minutes.
Okay. Alrighty, this is called the Scratch Man.
Ooh.
Yeah, ooh, it's right. This was posted December. This is from Creepypasta. This is posted December
spooky.
2nd, 2012 at 12 p.m. Spooky. It was at noon, whatever. Let's see here. Ever since I was tiny, I've had an overactive imagination. My mom always told me this was a gift, although I have found it an utter nuisance. What comes with this, which has proved to be most inconvenient of all, is my tendency to get scared often and also to seek out the things that made me most frightened. My most prominent memory of this is my childhood was a character who, and I honestly can't remember exactly, I think I called the Shadow Man. It all started when I was about 7 or 8, and I happened to be in another classroom at school. I can't remember why. All I can recall is were the decorations on the large window panes. They're rudimentary cutouts of stick figures and black cartridge paper with a series of spikes for hands, feet, and hair. The oddest thing about these little characters were their eyes. They were eye shapes, jagged and crude. Cut out of the faces behind them was a piece of red cellophane and had been stuck, like that sort of stuff see-through sweet wrappers are made of, so that when the sun shone through the windows, their eyes would illuminate. I know this doesn't sound particularly scary, but it is the founding of a truly terrifying image. Sometime later, I was staying at my grandparents' house. It was a little cottage. It was a little cottage on the corner of a road next to a church with a sprawling graveyard, which I have to say was rather picturesque. I was sat in the guest room, my room, bouncing on the bed when suddenly I felt a weird feeling creep over me, like somebody had poured a bucket of icy water over my head and extinguished my childhood playfulness. I felt very afraid and sat, completely paralyzed, on the edge of my bed. Once my head stopped swimming and my heart had stopped pounding, I realized I could hear the reassuring clicking of my grandfather's typing and the hum of the computer in the office across the tiny hall. I slipped silently out of my room and to the office door, which, to my confusion, was closed. It was never closed. I peered through the gap of the hinge. It was an old house with thin wooden doors with many cracks and crevices, and what I saw made me stop. I've been planning to burst in and ask Grandpa if he wanted some biscuits from downstairs, but something seemed off. There was a man sitting at that desk, but I couldn't make out his features. It was like he was made of fog, wispy and intangible, but his long, smoky fingers brushed the keys nonetheless. He was making a reassuring click at once that felt sort of angry. Who was this man, and why was he here, using my grandfather's computer? I pulled the latch on the door and stomped in, ready to shout this intruder, but the room was empty. There was a low whir as the computer shut down, the little blue light on the monitor flashing as the system switched off. But I could still hear the click. It was definitely the keys, and I was sure there had been something in the room. I could feel their presence, like you can any person who was close to you. I fled downstairs. I mean, really ran straight to the kitchen where my grandmother was cooking and stayed there. Stop typing! I don't feel the presence again until what must have been a couple years later. I had a nightmare. There was a boy made of black smoke, who I saw in my house. He had a long, dark blade which glinted in the dim light of my dream. glinted while he killed my family. I ran away as fast as I could, screaming and panting and sobbing. With huge sobs and tears rolling down my face, the nightmare went on, and each person who helped me, each person who talked to me, took me in, was killed. I kept running, just running and running for what seemed like hours until I screamed, "Stop!" I spun around, and sure enough, he was there. I was a stubborn, rude child, and my personality had kicked in at this point, and I had enough. "Why are you doing this?" I demanded, and just like that, I woke up. Again, there's a long period of time before I felt this fear again. This time it was 13 and at a scouts group. Monday and Wednesdays from 7 till 9, I was in the scouts building located at the end of a long driveway in a village near where I lived. We would have a break in the middle of each night where me and the other kids would walk down to the petrol station and buy snacks. This required us to walk across a long field besides the woods in the dark. We would, of course, try to scare each other. That night it was particularly dark and we had run out of traditional ghost stories by the time we got to the petrol station, so on the way back I told a story about the shadow man at my grandparents' house. Just as I finished telling it, we passed through the gates and led to the field, which was a little bridge with ditches on each side. As I walked through the gates, something caught my leg. I yelped as I fell into the ditch, my hands crawling at the dirt, dislodging rocks and earth, which proceeded to follow me. One of the rocks was huge, heavy, and landed flat, bang on my chest. I choked and sputtered as my hands reached down to pull. Well, I lost my. I choked and sputtered as many hands reached down and pulled me out of the ditch. I was crying and gasping. I was badly winded, and for a second I thought I'd broken a rib. And then I started to feel afraid. The wrong kind of afraid. And I took a deep breath against the pain, stood up. At my urgent request, we hurried across the field and back to the lights of the scout building. I never spoke of this terrible feeling that washed over me. All I knew was that I'd walked across the bridge dozens of times in the dark, and there wasn't a branch or rock or anything that obstructed the path. I never told them I felt something pull my ankle. I quit the club soon after that, but the incident wasn't the only reason. One night, my mom drove me down the long, bumpy driveway, and as we passed the trees, I felt more frightened of the shadows than I ever before. I could see shapes, twisting, smoky shapes, writhing between the shadowed trunks. This terror increased the further down the drive we went until we reached the building beyond. It was completely dark, no light to be seen. Now, I should have mentioned sometimes they can't do the scouts meeting, the building would stay locked up. But there was something very eerie about this time. My mom pulled up and started frowning. "Do you think we're too early?" she said, turning to me. I was completely white and could barely utter my plea to get out of here. My chest burned. I couldn't breathe. My mind went racing back to that night, laying in the cold ditch with a giant rock on my chest, feeling like I was lost in the shadows for hours before my friends pulled me out. I felt constricted. "Honestly, I think we're just early, hon," she said, going for a handle of the door. "Look, I think I can see a note on the doorstep. I'll go check." "No, stay in the car," I shrieked, bursting into tears. I told my mom I had this horrid feeling of foreboding, and I just really wanted to leave. She drove all the way home without saying a word. The whole journey, all I could think about were twisting shadows which lurked behind the light of the car. But I felt safe in the car with my mom. When we got home, she made me a hot chocolate and knelt down in front of me. "Look, you could have told me if you felt bad, okay? Sometimes, and not always, when you're scared. But sometimes you just know when somewhere isn't safe. But you're fine, okay?" So the last time I felt like that, for now at least, but there was one more thing. Sorry, I'll shut up soon. I found an old book of children's poetry on the shelf in my room, and while I was flicking through it, I found a poem titled Nightmare. I can't remember the whole thing, but it goes something like this. I checked behind the door and under my bed. I closed my eyes and counted 10. I turned my pillows over 3 times, but still you come. Your long fingers scraping against each other. The scratch man. Oh no, I said his name. Mommy, I can't sleep. The reason I included this is because there was a picture in the poem. The picture was a shadow of a man with long, spiky fingers and long, spiky hair. You guys ever that feeling? Sort of like I'm having right now.
I just got like a chill down my whole body. That was weird.
I think I'm good at
Yeah,
storytelling.
goosebumps. I don't have goosebumps, unfortunately.
Are you talking about the story right now or the books in general?
What do you mean?
Us talking about Goose. I think he was
Uh,
trying to make a joke.
No, no,
oh.
no, it wasn't.
Chris got mad at the pun.
Haha.
That's
No,
like
you
you
know
guys
how
ever
like
get
when you
that
get
feeling?
that spooky feeling and you get goosebumps on your arms?
Yeah.
That doesn't happen to me
I
often. I just get a chill.
I have a warm fuzzy hat on, so it's keeping me warm.
That completely contradicts what we're doing. Suicide King.
Oh my god.
Suicide.
That's one place I want to go. Speaking of that, is Japan, the Suicide Forest. I've
That
always
would be
wanted to go there.
that would be cool.
Dear God,
There's
let's
also a
not
place
kill
here.
ourselves.
There's also a place nearby that I forget what it's called, but it's like there's a bunch of weird, creepy structures all throughout the woods. It's like a 45-minute to an hour drive from where we are right now.
Why do I keep hearing knocking,
Really?
by the way?
Huh?
Kept hearing knocking while you were just talking.
I heard typing.
Typing was me.
That was him.
No.
But while you
Knocking
were just a
Have
couple
you?
minutes ago, it sounded like
like
somebody
that?
knocking. Yes.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. I was like, what the heck
I-
are you doing?
I have a pull-out keyboard thing on my desk, and then my knee keeps hitting it.
Okay.
It's the spooky scratch band.
Have you ever heard of Have you ever heard of Circle U, Circle U?
Shut the fuck up, Wes.
Yeah, how about no? Because no.
Oh, come on. I'll save it for next time.
We can
Yeah, save it for next time. Save it for next time.
Okay, because it's long as fuck. It has to do with World War One and Nazi Germany, war experiments in Japan, and you get the gist of it.
Nazi
but-
Germany and
Yeah.
Oh, what's it called? The Devil's Circle? Or the Devil's Stomping Ground? That's what it's called. Damn it.
Isn't that kind of like the Seven Gates of Hell or something that one of you guys were talking about last
Yeah,
week?
that's near the Devil's Tramping Ground. I'm sorry. It's in North Carolina.
I have one more story. It's something that I just remember my dad telling me over the years.
I love this one.
My dad's really good at scary stories.
Okay. Let's hear it.
All
Before
right.
I decide not to listen and scare myself.
All right. So, there are. I'm sure you've heard the stories before of like cars stopping on railroad tracks, and a little way later they look at their car and there's handprints on the bumper or what.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's I've heard that one. That one was a. Are you telling that one?
It's similar to that.
Because that one was a that one I know the entire story. Well, I know the abbreviated story of that. I can tell that one super quickly if you don't mind.
Go ahead, because I'm not entirely sure of the whole thing, and that's why I just kind of said that part.
So pretty much the story goes, if I remember correctly, the story goes as thus. There was a school bus packed full of young kids, and they were going across a railroad track, a certain railroad track. This is actually, I think, here in PA.
Yeah.
And they're going across the railroad
sweet.
track, and the bus stalled, and it couldn't get started. It wouldn't start, and a train came by, and the bus driver kept on turning it on, trying to get it. And just as they get it, the train hits the bus, and everyone dies, essentially. And
Oh my God.
the rumor goes that if you pull up to this train, like the crossroads, right, where the bus was hit, turn off your car and sit there. Your car will, after like a few minutes, your car will actually start moving forward. And if you just let it sit there, it'll just coast across the crossroads onto the other side. And if you get out of your car to look at the bumpers, like the bumper on the back of your car, there's little tiny handprints all across the back of your car where these
my
children,
God.
the ghosts of the children, pushed your car across the crossroads because they don't want anyone else to die on that crossroads.
Even though I've heard this story many a time, all my hair is standing on end right now.
It's the truth.
Yeah, mine too.
Thing, because there's also stop me if
One
I'm
got me.
stop me if I'm telling the story you're going to tell too, because there's one very similar where this one's actually I'll tell you after this one, but there's a place, I can't remember where, but you park your car at the bottom of this hill, all right, turn it to neutral, and your car will actually start going up the hill. Like something's pushing you up this hill. Yeah. I don't know the full story behind it, why, like the lore behind it. But I'm gonna ruin the spookiness right here. That was debunked because the hill is actually downhill. And it's all an optical illusion based on the greenery around it, to where it looks like it's uphill. But in reality, it's downhill. And I want to say that ties in with the school bus one, but I could be wrong. But yeah, it's definitely spooky.
There's one. My dad told it many years ago. It's hard for me to remember because he used to tell us stories while we were sitting around the fire camping, and it had something to do. I'm sorry if I'm butchering this, and I know I am. It has something to do with it's railroad tracks again. Only you see a bobbing light like a lantern. I just
I I think I remember that. I think I vaguely remember a story like that.
yeah, I just can't remember the whole thing. Um,
It's go ahead.
this is a story. It happened while I was in college. Wes was there. He might remember what I'm talking about here. Um, it's not particularly like supernatural experience. It's just a story, and that freaked us all out. So here we are in these woods. That it's like the middle of October, when everything air itself is. Um,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember.
we're outside and we decide to go into. We're actually looking for a filming location. Now, uh, we're going through these woods and we're all just kind of like walking for a while, and we start hearing like howling like dogs or wolves or whatever. It had to have been like somebody's dog because there aren't any wolves up that way that I'm aware of. Might have been like coyote. I don't know what the fuck it was, but
Coyotes.
I doubt it was those. Either way,
Well, no.
walking through these woods, and all of a sudden there's just this light very far into these woods. And like at first we start walking towards it, but it doesn't seem to be getting any closer.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, what the fuck? So we keep
Yeah,
going, we keep
it's
going, and keep
creepy.
going, and it's still not getting any closer. But all of a sudden, the wind picks up really bad, and there's like a bunch of spooky noises because we're in woods. So we're
And
like, nope,
crackling tree branches.
nope, done here, and we just left. Uh, we walked back to campus, and decided to not try that again for I don't know a couple days, and we never really got the chance to try and go see if there was like something down that way during the day. But people have said, "Oh, there's a house down there," but I don't ever seeing a house.
No, there was nothing there.
The spookiest thing I have in terms of something that happened to me, like in the woods and whatnot, is I've up until my parents got divorced, I've always lived in the country, out towards where, out uh, way past where we were, Chris, and out that way, and always up in the mountains. And I remember I was 8 years, or I was younger than that, probably like 6 or 7. Yeah, about 6 or 7. Um, I was out behind where we used to live was a place called Back Street. Out there we had a house, and or out in the backyard there was a
That's a
barn.
nice name for a street.
I know, right? And there was a barn, and then out behind the barn went up into the mountain. Now there was people that lived up on top of the mountain, or like up in the middle of the mountain, that you could you kept going down Back Street and up to the side, and you could get their house. Well, I remember the one time I was out there, our dog wanted out, so my dad says, go let him out. And I'm like, okay. So I go let him out, and I'm standing out there, and I was always afraid to go out there because it was so dark and I couldn't see anything. And but the one time I was out there, and to this day it freaks me out, and I still have this like feeling sometimes. But there was this figure I couldn't see it. Like you can see like a vague outline of it, but you could just see its pale face, like almost pure white face, just staring at me. And I yelled,
Oh,
"Bandit, house!" And I got in and I slammed the door shut and I ran over to my dad and just hid. He's like, "What's wrong?" I go, "There's something out there." He's like, looks out the window. He goes, "There's nothing out there, Nate. Don't." She's like, "Don't worry." I'm like, "But I'm scared." He's like, "Okay, well, sit down here with me. We'll watch a movie, whatever." And I end up calming down, passing out, and whatnot. 6, 7 years old, and I
okay, so
haven't.
you were young.
Yeah,
For some reason, I was expecting you to be like older.
yeah. I was
I
like
could
six,
just
seven
see you
years old.
running past your dad.
Yeah, no, I'm 20 years old doing this. Yes. Um, but to this day, I haven't seen him again, or it again, I should say. I don't know if it's a him or not. I haven't seen it again,
The
but I
it.
still get this like foreboding feeling. You know what I mean? Like something's there.
I do not like going in the woods at night at all. That's just something I don't
Mm-mm.
do.
Like
Yeah,
I
you'll
like
go
camping,
camping.
Camping
but I
doesn't
could I
count
couldn't go
because
camping alone. I
True,
just
because you're with friends and
where
whatnot.
I go
So
camping is a campground, so that doesn't really bother me as much.
like if we
yeah,
were to
but
go
that's
up,
like the
like
straight
just like, hey
woods.
Chris, grab a sleeping bag and a tent. We're going straight up this mountain.
Yeah, no, fuck that. You
Really?
ever see the
I've done
Blair
it before. It's
Witch?
not too
Fuck that.
bad. Nope. That, when I was
We've
younger,
seen the
I
Blair
used to see
Witch.
things like because when I was younger, I shared the bedroom that I have now at my parents' house because I live with my girlfriend. But anyway, bedroom that I shared with my sister when I was young, there were only two things in that room that terrified me.
Uh-huh.
One was the base or the attic door because my bedroom was literally right there. It was same room, the attic was right above me, and it always seemed like at night there would be some kind of noises and shit going on that would just scare the living hell out of me. But I ignored most of it because that, and I always had to think, because my sister at the time, she was, well, this might have been when I was a little younger, but she used to be afraid that there was a monster that lived out on the roof outside of her window that would get her if she went to sleep. No, she couldn't be happy with a monster under her bed. It had to be out on the roof. But I know a few times, because I remember vaguely one time, because my bed faced out the doorway into the hallway. One time I woke up, smacked my head off my dresser as I rolled out of bed to go to the bathroom, and that's not really pertinent, but I just remember it. And then that same evening, or it might have been the night after, I woke up randomly. I was like half awake, and I looked down the hall, and I swear to this day that I saw the faint image of someone just pacing up and down that hall. I don't know who it was or what they even wanted, but it didn't seem like they wanted anything. They just wanted to walk back and forth because I can remember staring right down that hallway and just seeing this white figure coming towards me and then turning around and going back towards my parents' room and then coming right back at me.
You know what?
And
I have to interrupt you
what?
because I lived at that house for a good year, about half a year or something like that. And there were
Yeah.
times where I had a weird feeling late at night. I would go up the stairs, or uh,
Don't you two do this to me. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. I'm going to be dead tired at work tomorrow.
just like I remember, I just always had a feeling of like somebody watching at the top of the stairs when it was pitch black.
Yeah, I hated when their power went out there because like I'd be sitting there, fucking around doing, whatever, and then power just gone. That's the one thing that scared the shit out of me in that house was when the power went out, and if I was home alone and I heard a helicopter. I don't know why, but those were two things that freaked me out.
I have one more thing. It makes my dad not sound like his dad, but I assure you he's a great dad. Um,
Yeah, that he is.
when I was I don't know, when the movie Sixth Sense came out on VHS. However
Oh
old I
God.
was then.
This is
Uh,
like 1995, I think.
my dad sat me down and made me watch this movie. Oh my god, hang on a second. Get the
Did
fuck out!
Sophie knock something over and Chris got a poltergeist?
God damn it. Goddamn cat.
Okay, that's spooky, scary ghosties.
Okay, so dad sat me down and made me watch
Spooky,
Sixth
scary
Sense.
kitties.
And I was a young kid, so scary movies weren't I wanted.
Yes.
They're still not something I like to watch.
So I sat and I watched this movie, and for the next, I have no idea how long I would freak the fuck out in the dark when it started getting cold, or like if there was some a red light or something visible to me, because
Mhm.
in the movie signs that you were about to see some, it was about to see a dead person, was it would get really cold, and there'd be something red in the scene, like he was wearing a red shirt, there was a red blanket, something like that. And I had a bedpost, the opposite side of my bedroom, that if you caught it at the wrong angle, it looked like somebody standing there. I don't know how many times that freaked me the fuck out. Yeah, like it
I
was
just picture like 5-year-old Chris just like waking up from like a seeing that freaking bedpost and just going nuts.
I didn't sleep in my own room for a whole night many times after I watched that movie, and to this day I haven't watched it again because I refuse to. I'm afraid it'll like bring up repressed memories or some shit, and I don't need that. But it looks like we're out of time for this week. Next week's gonna be a little
Damn.
different. I'm not sure how we're gonna do it yet, but we will have an episode next week, and last week's episode will be up probably the same time
Tomorrow.
the same time this one goes up. I'm not editing that
Tomorrow.
tonight. No, fuck you. I'm not putting that episode up tonight because I still gotta add the spooky stuff to it. Actually, no. I'll probably. Sorry, everybody, but the spooky stuff that I said I'm probably gonna put in, I'm not probably gonna put in because I just don't have the time to get to it.
Tell the truth, you're scared.
Yes, actually, that.
What
Um,
what
so
spooky sounds do you need? I can look for them.
no, fuck that. Because you're still gonna have to send them to me. I'm still gonna have to listen to it. Not doing it.
Big tit.
But like I said, that's all the time we have for this week. Next week is going to be a little different. The three of us are going to discuss it here after I end this recording, and you will hear the differences next week. So, still don't have a sign off for this yet, but I hope you enjoyed our ramblings and spooky stories.
If you get scared, remember, grab the salt, grab the crucifix. If you have holy water, better sure sprinkle that everywhere.
This is my last podcast
What about salt?
as a non-married man too. So, congratulations
Da,
to me, I
da,
say.
da, da,
Mazel tov.
da,
Not
da, da, da.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
See you later.
Da, da, bye.
Never finish tonight. Later.